Now I want to introduce Dr. Aman Carr. I have known her for probably close to 15 years, and the reason that's really, really important here is she's had an exceptional career doing a lot of different things in the DSO industry. I know probably people here, a lot of the younger faces, would recognize her as the founder of Women in DSO, and she's done actually some incredible work with that organization, and everybody should join if you're not. But I've known Aman going back 15 years to when she was a CEO, a chief operating officer, had an incredible career as an operator running a number of DSO organizations, and I think maybe even in the near future you may see her involved in that again. But right now, she's spent an incredible period of time sort of studying a little different AI. You know, we've talked about a lot of these discrete products like diagnostic AI, AI for RCM, but Dr. Aman has a program and is encouraging thought about, you know, what is your overall AI strategy for executives? In other words, what is your strategy for implementing all of these solutions and an overarching AI program for executives? We had a great feature of this at Dykema. It was a standing room only crowd, and I hope we're going to be seeing a lot more of this in the weeks and months to come. So please, everybody, welcome Dr. Aman Carr to the stage.
Thank you, Brian. Brian is really good at making everybody look good, so thank you for an amazing introduction. Hi, I'm Aman, and Michelle, Patrick, thank you for putting this event. It's so good to see this event coming together and growing over the years. And I have always felt when I come here, it's such impactful connections, and everybody is very intentional about this. And it's fun to see a room full of geeks, kind of, you know? I think I have shared this presentation a few times. I see Matt, and you will see some parts that you've seen before, so forgive me for that. But nonetheless, I feel like this is an important topic because we keep talking about technologies and a room full of CIOs and CTOs, and you all know when you're like, hey, we are an AI company, then you talk to a CEO of a large organization. They're like, yeah, great, talk to my CIO. And they have no clue. They don't want to do anything to do with what you're about to propose. So I think that's where the miss is. And when it comes to AI, I heard on one of the social channels, Mark Cuban saying, there will be two kinds of companies in future, one that use AI and then the former companies, the one that are not going to exist. So we have no choice but to be an AI company in future. So DSO operations, typically what we desire is having consistent performance, staff retention, effective patient acquisition, and consistent culture. So no surprise there. That's what we want in DSO operations. But we end up having is opposite of that. And it's been true for decade after decade. I have been in DSO space for 18 years, and it stands true. There's inconsistent operational performance, recruiting challenges, bigger than ever now. If they were not challenging before, it's very challenging. We have lost all of our frontline employees to Uber and DoorDash. Inefficient patient acquisition methods. No one knows where their patients are coming from, and they don't know their lifetime of their patients. Everybody calculates it differently, lifetime value of patients. How many are coming from referrals? I mean, such a huge way to get patients is by using your existing patient pool. No one leverages that. Dashboard fatigue without any foresight. If dentistry has something and DSOs have something, it's data. A lot of useless data. So we end up with a lot of that, but we very rarely use that data to look forward. And untested workflows and unleveraged data. We are like, oh, this sounds like a good idea. Yep, Vidya can be great, Overjet can be great, Reach, but we just don't, there's no way to test these workflows and test them in market versus market, practice versus practice. There's just no way. We just like implement it and cross our fingers and hope it works. Old DSO operations, I think we have heard this from a lot of DSO executives over the years. focus on people, process, purpose, and it works. And those are the DSOs that lead the industry now, Heartlands, Aspens of the world. But if they were to form and start in today's world, they will not be just only focused here. And there's nothing wrong here. There's just, they have systems that are focused on these things. But now they will have to be different if we are starting an organization today and want it to grow to that level. So current DSOs, they have AI chatbots, predictive alerts, AI coaching, and NLP review scanning. And these are much different than what we know, what we are using in our DSOs even now, with so much available there. There are AI chatbots. I feel like it is something so amazing. We should be starting at before patient journey, during treatments, post-patient treatment, and there is not much done there. And bringing those chatbots for employee retention, employee recruiting, is we are not even thinking about today. Predictive alerts, with AI, you can create twins, digital twins of versions, and you could have predictive alerts versus looking at the data always in a lagging way. Just by the time sometimes we look at our P&Ls and KPI dashboards, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a postmortem of a failure sometimes. So known AI tools in DSO context, you all have seen scheduling. People are using that for even staffing. If you're not, I think it is such a miss. Using staffing AI tools for not just for what labor challenges you have, but based on how many patients are scheduled, what kind of procedures are scheduled. That is a smart scheduling and leveraging your labor models. Recruiting talent personality matching. We all know every practice has a different talent that works for them, and they have kind of like their own personality. So having those recruiting done based on that, because today it's done by what we hear from our regional managers and what recruiters think of what is available in that market versus what that practice needs. Engagement, personalized outreach. There was a project that was trying to compete with Disney, and it never came to fruition, but they wanted to learn about people's what kind of interest they have in cartoons or animation, and then as soon as you walk into an elevator, your elevator will have screens that will show your particular character you like. That's the kind of personalization future generation wants. All these social media channels are feeding that to people, and then you slowly interject. But personalized reach for engagement for patients is a huge part. Leadership, real-time KPI alerts, we all want that. And there's a lot happening with billing. RCM, if you ask me, I wish there was no insurances. I think RCM is like, I wish they didn't exist. But we all have that necessary evil to deal with. Why AI and why now? So I think we are with all these challenges in current economics industry and with DSOs and labor challenges, we are very lucky that AI is here because we need to scale fast and with personalization. And typically personalization and scale don't go together. It's like, this is what works for masses, let's go with that. And we always ignore that 20% because we don't want to be distracted by that 20%, but we can do that now. We can scale while personalizing, and we can be efficient with empathy. There is a lot of studies that have happened, and newer generation, the number one thing they value in people is empathy. And that's their biggest issue with my generation and previous generations, that we don't have similar level of empathy like as the future generations do. Because we were trained to be efficient. And efficiency typically bulldozes people's emotions and doesn't pay attention to empathy. So we can do that with AI. It is a competitive imperative. And leadership must shift from reactive to predictive. So We are saying AI is a competitive imperative, but then we don't have our C-suite engaged or using AI. So that's a miss. That's kind of like we're not walking the talk. So what is AI first leadership looks like? AI first leadership is a little bit different than saying, let's just use this for our patient communication, let's use this for marketing, let's use this for diagnostics. It is a little different. It is using AI as a strategic compass to guide decisions, not just to automate tasks. And guiding decisions, it's going to get to a point where like for example, if my chat GPT, if I'm sharing it with it properly, and I want to talk to Patrick, and propose something to Patrick, what is Patrick going to do? He's going to say, Aman wants me to do this, and ask his chat GPT. So ultimately, my chat GPT is talking with Patrick's chat GPT. And we have to see which chat GPT kind of wins. So that's where it's going to get to the point where it's a strategic compass, but we have to keep it, human has to be part of the kind of the node center, but that's where we are going. It's when we are talking to someone, proposing something big, expect the other person to be running your things through their AI tools. AI as workforce multiplier, freeing human energy from repetitive work. People don't like repetitive work, but there are some people, there's a class of people who like it and we need them, but generally people don't. And this is where most of the burnout happens. It's not because they're working too much, they're just doing work that's not exciting. And we can enhance their team's capabilities through automation, and it's an experience engine, powering better patient, provider, and staff experience. Again, that personalization. There is so much we can do, starting from before onboarding, during onboarding, post-onboarding, check-ins with people. There are employees who want to be checked in every 45 days, and then there are others, they're like, tell me what to do, and I don't want to see you until my next annual review. So you can predict those things, and you don't have to do one size fits all. So top-down AI first leadership in action. We are seeing it outside of DSO industry. There are companies like Microsoft using Aether councils for ethical and outcome-focused governance, AI-enhanced leadership meetings. I think a lot of people, even in DSO space, are using Copilot, and they're doing low-coding tools. Management and regional leaders. That's, I feel like, is a very big area in DSO industry that gets missed. We forget about our regional leaders, and they are overworked, overwhelmed, and they manage the largest workforces because they have so many people in their face on a daily basis. They are the ones AI can do so much for them. I don't have it here, but one of the biggest one is helping them manage their email inbox. You know how overwhelming inboxes is for regional leaders? It is. Their inboxes have 100 plus emails on a daily basis, and they are never on their desktop. So having an AI bot to go through their emails and getting them ready for the day, nothing like that. AI sentiment analysis track, that's a really important tool that people can build for regional practices. There is, I think there was an article in Harvard Business Review that Zappos CEO, they have their AI twin, and that AI twin doesn't come out of in a bad mood after investors meeting, a lot more available. As long as there are enough disclaimers, you could have that AI CEO twin available for employee engagement and employee development. And it works because people can ask them questions. Having access to your CEO without infringing upon their time can be a great tool. And I'm talking about a lot of these things, and I think a lot of you know about these already, but practice leadership implications. A lot of times I have seen in DSO world, new employees, they call their benefits managers or a lot of people in DSOs just to ask about policy. And when it is very time consuming for both sides, for people who ask and then the people who have to answer. And somehow as being human beings, emotions get involved. Such a simple thing that can be done. There could be a policy bot. You have a question about policy, ask your AI bot. It could be HR questions, that could be very personal questions, and you don't have to engage any human being, and it saves us legally for so many things. But that's what an AI top-down approach looks like. And you can see I have not talked anything about what happens in practices and none of that. But that's what top-down looks like. This is our AI strategic compass. This is how every department is leveraging AI. I just wanted to give some of these tools out there. You all might be using them. If not, they're amazing. I built this presentation using Gamma.app, so try it. It does wonders. AI leadership playbook for DSOs and dental CEOs. So curiosity. I think if I just want to get you all curious about this and what does this top-down leadership looks like. Emerging technologies relevant to dental care. Exploring possibilities with that is very important. And then clarity. High impact and low risk. When you're looking at, it's similar to Eisenhower's model as leaders. You just put things in 4 quadrants, and it's like high impact, low risk. There are some cool AI technologies, and then that's where you want to put them in each quadrant. And I think that's an easy one to start. High impact, low risk. Let's go. There's not much wrong you can do, but you can see if it does some good for you. But that's how I would, if I am running, people come present to me new technology, I put them in each quadrant and then see where it matters, where it belongs, and then you kind of deploy them based on that. Building AI internal champions, very important. I was hearing from Jeremy that having implementation of things is so important because there's so much that gets lost in implementation. Otherwise, there's another toy, like as dentists, we used to collect a lot of technology. Now, similarly, people are doing with AI. We also have this, and they don't even know if it's well integrated with their PMS systems, what are the outcomes they are seeking. So there's a big improvement that can happen there. And leading transformation mindset. Clear metrics around every technology is very important. That's how you track them. And that's where I would say engage the vendors. What metrics you're saying it's going to change. And everybody says that most of our softwares, you'll have 40% more treatment acceptance rate. Evaluate that. Is that for your practice? What kind of practices? Is it GP? Over what time period it happened? Because a lot of times we hear those numbers, we're like, okay, yep, that's what's going to happen. That's not going to happen in your DSO. AI first values, it's a culture. I think we all say culture eats strategy for lunch every day. And if you have AI culture or you don't have AI culture, and culture is kind of beast. You have to feed it every day. You have to know this is our culture. We have to make sure it stays that way. So approach, vision needs to come from, I feel, executive teams. What they want to see transform, not just from a CTO and CIO. They should consult with them, but the approach should come from CEOs. This is what I want from my people. This is I want to see in 3 years. This is I want to see in 5 years. And AI should be embedded in that. Because we can't just say we want to have better retention. We should say we want to have better retention in these roles. And how, and that's how it will become a little bit more tactical. Into decision making and culture and strategy, it's going to happen because if it doesn't happen at the top level, it's happening at a disjointed individual level, so you got to pull it all up. Empowering mid-level teams with tools, just don't ignore your regional leaders. I feel like they are the pillars who take that concentrated dose of culture and takes it to the practice levels. If you have a weak pillar, no matter how good you are at a DSO level, whatever region they're influencing is gonna be shaky. Create feedback loops, very important, because Sometimes you have to make pivots. Don't keep throwing good money after bad money, because we all make sometimes bad decisions. Having that feedback loop can help you pivot. Lead from clarity, not chaos. Intelligent adoption is the key. And then pilot things. You don't have to go all in. And I think that's where a lot of DSOs get bogged down. If we go with this, do we need to implement it all around? And with piloting things, there are sometimes good decisions made at the wrong time or with the wrong team don't work. So whenever you're doing co-pilot, do like two places, because one can sometimes take you away from a good technology that can eventually work for you. So these are some of the things I want to spend some time on here is what DSOs should be doing is AI-powered dashboards. If you all don't have them, that's where I think I would want companies like Planet DDS or any agentic DSOs that will be coming very soon. That's what they are going to have. Strategic modeling and forecasting using machine learning. So we don't model today in DSOs. We just kind of take a guess, run a few numbers, and then we're like, okay, that's what it's going to be. Sentiment analysis for an employee patient feedback for culture monitoring. Very, very important. Google reviews are not enough. We all know that. Who gives Google reviews? Few pissed off people. Or, if someone we just kind of there's an incentive program. But sentiment analysis is where world is going. Regional leadership, automated performance tracking of regions and practices. It is horrible asking your regional leaders, who should be with their people, with their patients, with their doctors, in the morning spend 2 hours to send reports that no one's going to look at, right? And you're just getting those reports to make sure this person is doing their job. That's horrible. So just kind of having, instead, create those reports for them and just say, we got the report for your region. They shouldn't have to be spending time on that. AI coach leadership development tools. Regional leaders need so much development. A lot of times COOs and CEOs don't have that. But there is a lot of AI coaching available today. And you could customize it based on your organization's values and mission. Smart scheduling suggestions based on patient demand trends. I haven't seen it much there today. With Planet DDS, so many, with enterprise solutions, you can see which practice is going to have a busier day and not have a disproportionate labor staffed. That's a big tool that can be done. And departmental functions, HR, AI matched recruitment and attrition risk modeling is available. Marketing, predictive leverage with dynamic content personalization. Not everyone wants to see similar content in marketing. And you could have dynamic content. AI-driven cash flow modeling and fraud detection. There are so many times I've seen people don't even know there is embezzlement happening, but AI could help you, and it can point in right direction, certain type of transactions, certain type of people, certain times of the days. RCM, I think we all are doing good there. Practice level, smart scheduling again. AI chatbots, consistent clinical notes. I will have few companies we are talking about how clinical notes are emerging because that's a big mystery. As DSOs, we just don't know what happens in the clinical laboratories. We know what got in the x-rays, what got into was entered, but we don't know what actually happened in the laboratories. So much gets missed there. Clear use case boundaries, as we are doing it, we had a great presentation. I think Jenna from Dykema did that. And one of the things she said stayed with me was that all the contracts that were done before, I believe, 2021 are obsolete because there was no mention of AI. And you all know there's a big class action lawsuit going on in the industry because how AI is using this data, it was not part of those contracts. And there's a lot of breach around that. So please look at your contracts for sure. And human in the loop policy. AI can do great things, but it still needs a human in the middle of all of this. An internal AI review committee, that's something an organization should be doing. It's a huge part of integration for governance and to make sure there's diverse perspective, because if any of you, as all of you have probably talked to ChatGPT, the first thing it does, it reinforces you're a great person, you have empathy, you have great intentions, even though sometimes it's not true. So we need a human in loop and governance policies. The near future AI native DSOs look like they will have auto-generated insights, all the things I'm talking about. My favorite is the digital twins. There are a few DSOs I talked with them. They have created their whole digital DSO, where it has their dentist avatar, what patient profiles look like, what staffing looks like, and they can just, based on that, they can predict where we need to go. And if you have that, that's the way to identify where you should be opening your practice next. And does it need to be a de novo? Does it need to be an acquisition? What kind of, because you can look at what demographic have what kind of propensity to spend money with you, because ultimately we all want happy and paying patients. So we want to see people who have propensity to spend money with you and they want your services. Hyper-personalized marketing, this is, I think a lot of people are using it. Even with Google AI, I feel like nobody goes to the website, they're just a profile now. And that's what people make their decisions based off. So internal AI coach can train new leaders and staff. And learning needs to be continuous and personalized and updated. And that's where having an AI can be so meaningful, although dollars we all have spent on LMSs may not be as useful now, unless those LMS systems have AI incorporated. Call to action is lead with AI, not follow. And I feel if whenever as tech geniuses you all are, engage the CEOs. Just say, what does your organization's AI strategy look like? Because that will help you make decisions. Otherwise, they will just make this decision in silo, and it may not give you the desired results for the whole organization. I have partnered with a friend of mine. He is a tech CEO from Fortune 500 companies, doing a lot more work in other industries. So we have launched this Curio.ai for healthcare. And it's going to be small groups, handpicked 15 people. And we are going to do full day workshops. And so we're planning to have next one in December 11, Chicago, Curio.ai. Look it up, and then I hope to see you all there. And thank you, Danny and Jeremy. I just wanted to kind of bring those guys back. Danny is a new CEO for a company called Avora. So I happen to be on their board, and I'm really excited to be working with them and been working with Vidya for a very long time. And I just want to kind of take this AI conversations to the area we were talking about, how we don't know what happens in the operatory. So that's where I think Danny's group is helping with Avora. And Jeremy, everybody knows Vidya, but I think I want to talk about what are the products coming in future very soon from Vidya.
Yeah. So we are going to start moving into ambient AI, a little bit of voice AI, which means we're going to start capturing via ambient AI what happens in the operatories and then feeding that back into our product. We've launched a very nascent referrals product up in Canada that we're testing with the two DSOs up there, and we'll be rolling that out in the United States here shortly. We're also moving into what I would call more specialty dentistry. So think ortho, think endo. We've got some very preliminary products in that area, but we're going to be going deeper there as well. So those are the three key areas that are going to be coming out here very shortly.
Awesome. So Danny, talk to me about Avora, because when you all came to me and you're like, we're launching this new company, I'm like, God, no, another company? We don't need another company talking about AI. And so tell us what Avora does and why is it different?
Yeah, absolutely. So paraphrasing a little bit from Brian's presentation this morning, the mission statement for DSOs in 2025 is you want to deliver exceptional patient care, you want to bolster same practice growth, and you want to do this all while remaining efficient. And how do you do that? Well, from Dr. Aman's talk, you want to standardize best practices. And really what you want to do is try and personalize every interaction that's happening in your group to the best of your ability. But this is super hard to do as a leader because you can't be everywhere all at once. And so you have to rely on your people, your regional managers, your office managers to do this for you. But even they can't be everywhere all at once, and they're super stressed out all the time. And so what we do is we enable groups to be and see in every operatory all the time via ambient listening. And we allow regional managers and office managers to coach their teams, coach their associates, treatment coordinators on how to personalize patient interactions, how to consistently deliver exceptional care, and also free up teams and their time from doing things like clinical documentation, so they can really just focus on being with the patient and delivering this exceptional care in person, which is what they're best at.
Danny, if I heard you correctly, it's kind of like eavesdropping on chairside.
Sure.
Is that legal? I want you to talk that through.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 39 states in the U.S. that are one-party consent states, which means that only the provider or the person doing a recording has to consent to listening. There's another 11 states that are two-party consent, which means that you want to get the patient's verbal consent or written consent. As long as you get this consent either via new patient paperwork or asking them, hey, we're using a new note taker, is it okay if we record this appointment? You're completely in the clear. And we ourselves are a HIPAA compliant platform, and so we can store patient recordings completely compliantly in accordance with HIPAA.
So I asked this, it was a trick question, by the way, and why I asked this is if any of the groups, you guys don't have the verbal consent and saying that our technology might be listening, it's something everyone should update it, and it's year-end is coming, updating forms, and I talk with our peers at Planet DDS and all that, put that in your standard agreements. It's a biggest violation that's happening out there. People they're not updating their HIPAA consent forms, and it needs to be really looked at for AI reasons. And I think Jenna at Dykema talks a lot about it, and it is, a lot of people are missing on that. So Jeremy, you were talking about the similar voice technology where they'll be taking notes. And I was sharing with you offline story that how I go for my physical and my doctor is spending so much time with this computer and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So how are you guys making sure dentists are spending enough time with patients, not just with technology?
Yeah, great question. I mean, technology is good in and of itself in terms of optimizing the patient interaction. What I mean by that is everything that we do, we're trying to provide the best service and tools, whether it's clinical AI, claims AI, workflow AI. What that means is we're trying to actually decrease the amount of time that you're actually on the platform so you can actually spend the time with the patient. And so, for example, we have a huddle product that essentially optimizes the daily huddle. So instead of having to print something off, we're actually serving up the data to the hygiene teams and the doctors, for the 10 or 20-minute huddle, so they can immediately actually know exactly what they need to do for that patient that's coming in and go do it. And I mentioned this earlier. We have a patient view utility within the product, and what we do from a change management perspective is that we coach the teams through that clinical onboarding and that evergreen motion to say, hey, if you're having chair-side conversations and you have within your operatory a screen that can be up in front of the patient, leave it up for that patient just to essentially look at their own x-rays and actually self-diagnose. And what that does is it changes the chair-side conversation in such a way that the patient is actually more in tune with what they want to discuss with that doctor, and they're ultimately driving that conversation. And so to your point, to your question, everything that we do, we're thinking through how can we minimize the amount of time that you actually have to be on the platform so you can have the appropriate conversations with the patient.
Danny, similar question to you all. I think with your technology, it will require wearing headpieces or having those new things present in the clinics. And as clinicians, I feel like we spend so many years learning, training ourselves, memorizing instruments and our muscle memory. And then a lot of people have been practicing, and we're used to behaving certain way. Our muscles are trained certain way. We like clicking or looking certain ways. And how much training does these things require, and change management around that? I mean, even if it's a small earbud, it's very annoying sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, the way our technology works is it's not something you wear, but it's usually just an ambient like conference microphone that you put in a room. So it's just there and you can forget about it. And really all of this is to say that, so change management is, the number one problem, as I'm sure everyone here knows when implementing any sort of new technology. For us, what we see our job as an AI platform is really minimizing the amount of net new clicks or just net new thought that you're thinking about when interacting with it. And so we don't have a headpiece. It's one click to start recording. And really the whole goal is for you as a provider to be able to just completely forget that this thing is running and really just has your back and is automating your documentation, has your back on case presentation, and is really just maximizing your time with the patient.
I want everyone to know about your background. Why on earth would you come to dentistry?
Yeah. So I don't come from dentistry. My background is all in computer science and AI. So I worked in consumer AI for a few years, and the technology I was actually working on was speech to text. So really, in an ambient setting, how can you transcribe what someone's saying in a way where it's not like Apple dictation on your phone and it just never picks it up, but is actually capturing the essence of what you're saying. And while I was working on this, I got really excited about the potential for that technology to help, in a healthcare and dental setting where you have hundreds of patients sometimes, a day, everything's happening so quickly, and things just get forgotten. And so I was really just excited about being able to improve the patient experience with this ambient listening technology.
Yeah, and I think what I'm excited about is it's going to standardize the care, and that was the dream with everyone, like Overjet, Vidya, everybody, and now all these technologies coming in. So are you, Jeremy, it's for you, like one day, all these FDA-approved images, technologies overlaid over the x-rays, patients like me don't trust anyone, and then I want to explore ChatGPT or Google, and I take those x-rays, and I try to get my treatment plan. Of course, they can't prescribe, but are you guys nervous about that?
We're actually not, because actually from our perspective, the more information that a patient has is actually going to be better in terms of the synergy of the conversation that you have with your provider, right? And so it actually builds trust. And so we do very much lean into that patient education side of convincing, if you will, and positioning with the clinical teams, like, don't see this as a threat, actually see this as an extension of actually the patient becoming better educated about their own oral health, and then they will actually feel more in control of their oral health and the control in terms of the decisions they make. And what we're finding is, and I mentioned this earlier, is that treatment planning is moving to the right of the bell curve, it's increasing, and case acceptance is moving to the right. So we know, based on the data, that patients are becoming more confident in terms of actually being willing to accept treatment. That in of itself is, I think, is something that the industry should lean into, and clinicians should really want to actually leverage these tools, because it's actually going to improve your relationship with your patient.
Yeah, no, it's nerve-wracking and exciting to be doing dentistry in today's world. So thank you so much, both Jeremy and Danny, and thank you, Michelle. I think I finished on time.
Thanks.